Hello, everybody. A warm welcome to Curiosity. This is March episode of the Curiosity, and March is a fantastic month. You see, for me, it's a very special month because this is a month of the spring equinox. We'll come to it in a short while. So, this episode is, as we can see it, this is the 18th episode of the Curiosity. And in this episode, as usual, what moved the science in the last month? In February, what actually happened in the science, we are going to cover comprehensively. And it's not just in science, but elite disciplines, including humanities, political science, and especially psychology. A lot of interesting things are happening in psychology. So, and also brings latest major international breakthroughs. As you see, the science is international, right? There is no national boundaries. So we are covering all the things happened in the science without any national boundaries. You see, the cutting edge of the science. That is what this program is intended to be. And it also covers the news, observances, and opportunities. So what are the observances, upcoming observances in the month of March? And also what are the opportunities for the students? We are going to cover everything. First is psychology and behavior related stories. The first story is about the perception about the working class or the people from the privileged background. So wealthy, successful people from privileged backgrounds often misrepresent their origins as working class in order to tell a rags to riches story resulting from hard work and perseverance rather than social position and intergenerational wealth. You see, like Slumdog Millionaire, the movie, you might have seen that. So that kind of narratives are often interesting for the audience. You see, and that is the reason that most of the rich people, they often say that they often lie that they are actually from a very poor background, and because of their hard work and perseverance, they achieved what others think that it's an amazing wealth. So actual truth is something else. So if you look at the really top level, the millionaires or rather billionaires, you will see the same trend. They're already born in a rich family. You see the intergenerational wealth. That means the inheritance play a crucial role, especially for the startups, because you really need a lot of money to start up a business. So this is what the latest study says. And this is also an interesting result when you compare with the resume studies. A lot of interesting resume studies also published in the last month. By the way, all these stories have been linked up in the show notes that I'm going to update in a few hours. So resume studies found that the applicants are less likely to be contacted for an interview if the resume has indicators of working class upbringing. For example, if you are, let us say, if you are in the US and you are born in the black minority community, and if you say that you are from a black community, then chances that you get hired are significantly hampered. Same thing would be here in India as well. If you're born in a scheduled caste, for example, and if you say it openly in your CV that I'm from an SC background, then chances of getting hired might be hampered. Well, remember, this is not an Indian study and this is the US study. So world over the same phenomenon happening, you see. So that is what these are quite related stories. People automatically perceive wealthy individuals as highly competent. That is also quite a related story. You see, wealthy individual means competent individual. That is incorrect, you see. It might not be true as well, and express more willingness to hire them in the job interviews based on the assumption that wealthy people earn their wealth, which might not be true. Wealthy people, they might have got the wealth by the intergenerational wealth accumulation, you see, inheritance from the parental wealth, you see. And that is the main reason why wealthy individuals are wealthy. Only very small fraction of wealthy individuals really earn their wealth because of their hard work, you see. So the rich and competent belief can reduce economic mobility, making it more difficult for the working class to thrive. That is what the new study says. Next is about the teens, and bullying. So the teens who bully, harass, or victimize the peers are often doing this aggression strategically to climb the school's social hierarchy. You might wonder why the people are doing this, right? The students oftentimes in school, they bully their juniors, for example, and why they have to do it, and what is actually the motive behind it. See, the kind of studies are really interesting to control this kind of bullying and ragging, very common in professional colleges here in India or elsewhere in the world as well. So why the people are ragging, why they are bullying? So the reason what this study found is to climb the school's social hierarchy, with the highest rates of bullying occurring between the friends and the friends of friends. You see, so there are actually lured who bully faster and effectively to climb that social hierarchy. Very interesting study. And these findings points to reasons why most anti-bullying programs don't work. So if you really want to control effectively the bullying and ragging, you really need to target the core or the grassroots level problem here, the social hierarchy. You see, the study was based on more than 3,000 cohorts. Massive experiments with StubHub shows why online retailers hide extra fees until you are ready to check out. You see, this is happening everywhere. For example, Amazon or Flipkart or whatever the online retailers, so it will say you that the price is only 400 rupees, but when you check out you will realize that there is additional 250 rupees for what is that, delivery. You see, so this is a problem with most of the thing. And why do they do that? That is what this study analyzed, that this lack of transparency is highly profitable. Once the buyers have the sights on an item, letting go of it becomes hard. You see, they are making use of a psychological cognitive bias. So as scores of the studies in behavioral economics have shown, that is a study from the UC Berkeley published last month. You see, so have their sights on an item, letting go of it becomes hard. So this is the same thing with the online food retailers too, like Swiggy or Zomato here in India. So if you buy an order like or Domino's pizza, then finally checking out, so the pizza might cost only 250 rupees, but while checking out there is a minimum order requirement for free delivery. If your pizza is not more than 700 rupees, you have to pay delivery charges. You see, so all these are tricks and tactics to lure the consumers into buying it. Next study is about the people with gay sounding voices face discrimination in the society. That is a very interesting landmark publication published last month. If your sound has any gay sounding, that means sound resembling the opposite sex. It could be of both sides. Male sounding like a female or female sounding like a male. So they face the discrimination in the society, and they knew it. The people with the gay sounding voices already knew this matter, and they anticipate the rejection. You see, that is what the study says. Very revealing study. Energy drink consumption. You see, the energy drink like Red Bull, the consumption is linked to depression, anxiety. You see, that is what the new study says, and stress, right? It's a longitudinal study spanning for many years, tracing the study conducted on the same subject for many years. That is called the longitudinal study, which followed 897 individuals from the birth to the age 22. See, they started right from the birth to 22 years. So it is such an enormous study. You need a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of effort, right? Energy drink consumption were positively associated with increased stress scores in a young adult male, depression and anxiety. So if you're looking only in the male, it is depression and anxiety are additional related variables, but for both males and females, stress score. So the stress level is increased if you take up the energy drink. So maybe one reason is the sugar substituents, like aspartame, that they use that in the energy drink to make it low calorie. You see, so this diet options are not good. The multiple studies have shown that this diet variety like Diet Coke, which uses artificial sweeteners, they havoc our own gut microbiome, and that actually leads to the development of type 2 diabetes. So that is what diabetes mellitus. So that might be the truth. And remember, energy drink here, it means the famous energy drinks, the branded energy drinks like I told you, Red Bull, but it does not include coffee. So by the way, coffee drinking is associated with low cancer risk and low coronary artery disease development. So it's good to drink a lot of coffee, Of course, there are other factors too. Like, for example, if you already have some heart disease, then you need to control the coffee consumption. But otherwise, for healthy individuals, coffee consumption is perfectly fine. Next story is about school gardens. So school gardens linked with the kids eating more vegetables. Huh? See, such a very interesting study. You see, I love this kind of interesting, informations. So students who participated in the gardening, in the school gardening, nutrition and cooking classes at the school, ate half the serving more vegetables per day. You see, if they knew what is really happening, this is all about, everything boils down to the concept called mindfulness. In the meditation, there is a concept mindfulness. Be aware of what you're eating. For example, if you eat a morsel of rice, think about the rice farmers. Think about, think about the pollinators, everything all together. So that actually brings joy in your life, is that. So teaching kids where the food comes from. See, you have to teach the kids where that food is coming from, how to grow the food. So by showing it, if they participate in the food growing activity in school, and how to prepare the food, that is also important. The kids usually they simply eat at the dining table, right? Dinner or breakfast or lunch with the parents. They are not really interested in cooking. But if you actually expose them to cooking, how to prepare it, that is a key to changing the eating behaviors. To impart the healthy eating behavior, you should teach the kids to participate in all these activities. Very interesting study. Next, people with extremist views are less able to do complex mental tasks. That is what the research says, like complex mental tasks, like the scientific reasoning. It's not possible if you have an extremist viewpoint. So there is a Swedish concept called lagom, moderation. That is really key for being exposed to the learning, and be flexible to various opinions. So don't be extremist. Be open for criticism and be open for learning. That is really important. Next is about empathy. People who lack the consideration of others' well-being, that is called empathy. People who lack empathy are more prone for political radicalization. That is what the new study suggests. So if you don't have empathy, then you are more prone for political radicalization. It might very well be true for religious radicalization too. So, which found a link between psychopathic traits, antisocial tendencies in support of the group violence. So, the people who have this dark triad traits, I've covered this topic so many times in Curiosity. The dark triad, like in a triangle, three traits define the dark triad. The first trait is psychopathy. So, psychopathy means antisocial behavior. And the next trait is Machiavellianism, that means manipulative or exploitation of others. That is what Machiavellianism is about. And the third is narcissism. Narcissism means extreme self-love, ego, and lack of empathy. All these traits are, these are all correlated with political radicalization, you see, and group violence. So if you have any of these things, introspect. Of course, it's not easy to, to self-aware, right? In philosophy, the concept called metacognition. Think about thinking, right? So, and bias blind spot. That means that we are unaware of our own cognitive biases, bias blind spot. So it's really tough, but it's time for us to introspect ourselves. So next story is about the kids who pick up the stereotypes from generic statements. So they pick up most of these gender stereotypes from the generic statements. So be aware while telling the kids this kind of generalizations and general statements, that is, that can actually mold the kid's brain. So using generalized languages like girls like art, you see. So the kids will start exposed to that kind of generalizations, tend to think always the kids are the one who like art, while boys like languages, or boys like mathematics, STEM subjects like science, technology, engineering, and medicine, while girls are only interested in arts and cooking. So those kind of stereotypes, if you tell the kids, then chances are high that when they grow up, these kind of thoughts will be etched onto their memory forever. You see, boys play sports. See, that is also a gender stereotype. Or boys like blue color while girls like pink color. That is again, that is a gender stereotype. Or boys like robots and sports car, those kind of toys, while girls like dolls. You see, this again, that is a gender stereotype. Please don't do that. So that actually leads to the gender stereotyping. So this have got unintended consequences of strengthening these stereotypes later. That actually leads to the gender, inequality in the society. As the kids can infer the opposite for the unmentioned group. That is what the study says. People who believe in COVID-19 conspiracy theories like Chinese hawks tend to struggle with scientific reasoning. That is what the new study says. So scientific reasoning, friends, it doesn't come innate to all of us. It's not intuitive. Statistics is not intuitive. To think about probability and or null hypothesis, even the judicial system, it's not actually intuitive. It doesn't come naturally to us. You need some training. And scientific thinking, it is all about examining various pieces of evidences and coming to a conclusion, without the effect of cognitive biases. So critical thinking makes a huge role, plays a huge role in scientific thinking. And that doesn't come naturally to most of us. So people who believe in this kind of conspiracy theories struggle with scientific reasoning and critical thinking. That is what the new study says. Exciting. High school start times conflict with adolescent morning brain. See, adolescent, especially in teenagers, they have morning brain. So the morning sleep is extremely important for their brain development. So if the schools are starting early, like 8 o'clock or even 7 o'clock, not good. So the school administrators, it's a high time for you to change the timings. It's always better to start later than early, especially when it comes to school education, the teen education, because the teenage brain needs time. They are mostly morning brain. So in the school EEG activity, they did this study published last month, did EEG, electroencephalogram activity. They found that students are more neurologically alert and able to retain information in midday classes. That is classes starting at 10:30 a.m. onwards, rather than early morning classes like 8:30 a.m. So if the classes start very early, then they cannot even retain the memory, you see. Hebbington's famous study says that only 50% that we remember, after 1 hour of attending any class, you see. So we forget 50%, and it is basically an exponential curve of forgetting, forgetting nature. So that is what is very, very important, to start the schools later the day rather than very early timings. Next story is about populism. What is populism? Which is very popular during the Trump time in the US. So populism is a worldview that pits average citizen against the elite. You see, average people means like normal working class people, which are not really educated or not tech savvy, against the elite. You see, that kind of worldview is called populism. So elites and includes anti-intellectual attitudes such as distrust of the expert. So this people holding the populism view, they say elite as the experts. So like scientists or the professors or teachers, they are all part of the elite community, you see, and there is a conspiracy theory going on. So that kind of populist worldview is very, very strange. So now the new study found that this populism is correlated with conspiracy belief about COVID-19, above and beyond the partisanship. So yeah, so if you believe that there are two kinds of group, the elites and non-elite, the working class and intellectuals, then chances are high that you believe in conspiracy theories, especially the COVID-19 conspiracy theory, for example, anti-mask conspiracy theory, or Chinese conspiracy theory, or even the vaccine, anti-vaxxer conspiracy theory. That is what the new study says. Next is that when teachers offer positive encouragement instead of this, this kind of negative behavior or disruptive students, like students who are problem creators in the class, so instead of making it a lot more negative for them, like punishing But if you actually do a positive encouragement, then then it reduces the disruptive classroom behavior and improves the academic and social outcomes. So see, that is what the positivity is a key rather than punishment. You see, so that is what it suggests, a randomized controlled trial. See, RCTs are really powerful, and here it is a large number study, 1,450 cohorts. So the conclusions might be really valid across the world. You see, so positive encouragement in the class for the disrupting students is a key instead of punishing them. You see, so that actually leads to a better outcome. You see, that is very interesting pedagogical assessment. If you're a teacher, this is a very good tactic to mold the future generation. So next is humanities, politics, and policy related stories. Big name corporations like big brands, the multi-billionaire industries are more likely to commit fraud. See, Fortune 500 firm, that is, Fortune listed, the American top companies. It's an American study with strong growth profiles are more susceptible to cooking the book. Cooking the book means twisting the narratives of the law to suit their own preconceptions. So whatever they want to say, you're actually convincing the judiciary that the books needs to be changed, you see, rather than smaller struggling company, the startups and small industries, they cannot hire the famous lawyers. The lawyers are very expensive, right? So that is what is actually happening around the world. So this type of elite white collar crime is understudied, especially when compared with the street crime. So street crimes, we all know, the petty crime, but this sort of elite crime, not many people know. So once you can afford enough attorneys to make the government's job too difficult to investigate or prosecute them, then it can be more profitable for the company to break the law and then just pay the lawyers to get away with it or minimize the penalties. You see, there is a strategy by big corporations. They always do that around the world. Next is that job applications from men are discriminated against when they apply for female dominated occupations like nursing, childcare, and house cleaning. If a male is applying to become a janitor, then they are being discriminated. Just because of male, they are not preferred. That is what the new study. It's again, it's an American study, but very well be valid across the world as well. So, however, in male-dominated occupations like mechanics, truck drivers, and IT, the new study found that there are no much of the discrimination, statistically significant discrimination against women. Very interesting study. So next study is about bilingual and bicultural Latina doctors. So Latina means Latin American. The South Americans working in the US. They were expected to perform Spanish English translating work all the time. You see, that's a very interesting study. So if you are from South America working in the US, so you are expected to translate English to Spanish and vice versa. And when they said no, or explained that it wasn't their job, they were more likely to experience hostility or were accused for being difficult to work with by their co-workers. You see, that is what. So it's not their job. A doctor is just a doctor. They're not expected to do the translation, medical transcription. You see, that is not their job. The companies needs to hire professional translators if they really want that, right? So expecting the doctors to do the translation all the time just because they speak another language, that is not right. But that is happening all around the world if you can speak multiple languages. I also had the same issue. So when I was in Japan, I do speak Japanese, and many of my friends, even the teachers, do approach me to correct their English manuscript. If you ever lived in a country where the English is not the language, then they expect the international students correct their language, copy edit the manuscript. You see, that is a world over, the phenomenon. Yes. So next studies, next class is from the technology related stories. Chemists developed two sustainable plastic alternatives to polyethylene, the plastic, you see, sustainable plant-derived alternative that can be recycled with a recovery rate of more than 96%. That recovery rate is a catch. There are so many plastic alternative like cornstarch and all, plant-based plastic, you see, but the recovery is very less. So that is why these plastics are not profitable, economically profitable. That is why you have to pay big money. But this particular plastic seems to be very cheap to produce as well. Low waste and economically friendly replacement to conventional fossil fuel based plastics. So this is a new study published in Nature, very prestigious British journal, 17th February. Of course, this is not a new plant-derived polythene. There are so many such studies being published for the last 1 decade, but the catch is that these studies are good in theory as well as in the. It's like mostly it's a proof of concept. It works in the lab, but not sustainable, you see, in the economic model. So that is a problem. I hope this particular research is a paradigm shift. Hope for the best. Next is that there are several studies published last month. So that revealed that location tracking apps, you see, location tracking apps, if you allow any of the apps with your location in your phone, do more than just monitor your whereabouts. They can collect a lot of sensitive information about the user's residence, habits, interests, demographics, and even personality traits. They can actually, the AI and machine algorithm can work in background, and they can actually check out your location tracking to deduce your personality information that can actually feed onto the database where the employers can they can actually rely upon while recruiting you. So I suggest you to disable location unless you really want it, like unless you are in a you are really actively looking for the directions in a new city or a new countryside on the Google map. Always turn off the location. That's really important if you don't want to share your data with these corporations. Next is biodiversity, environment, and evolution related stories. Big creatures like elephants, which have a lot of cells, should develop tumors more frequently. So probability theory dictates that elephants should have a lot more tumors than bacteria, for example, small creature, a cat. But that is not the case. But what is happening in the world is vice versa. Elephants rarely develop cancer. Why? The new study shows that elephants possess a large toolbox of the genes for evading the cancer. Evading the cancer means not developing the cancer. You see, they have a lot of tumor suppressor genes. It suggests that the evolution of tumor suppression capabilities contributed to the development of big bodies. So this is a landmark study that actually led to a large number of tumor suppressor genes in elephants and other large-bodied creatures like whales and hippopotamus. These creatures are not developing cancers. Unlikely. It's ironically from what the probability theory says. A first of its kind study has found that corn snail venom, the corn, you see the snails, right? This mollusk. So this corn snail venom, the venom is called conotoxin. The potent venom produced by corn is called corn snail, are known as conotoxin, from a species of sea snail, could potentially treat severe malaria. You see, malaria, anti-malaria, effect of this conotoxin by disrupting the protein-protein interactions in Plasmodium falciparum. That is basically the protozoa causative agent of the malaria, right? Emerging diseases like AIDS and COVID-19 may also benefit from conotoxins as treatment. That is what this new study reveals. So it's very exciting that nature has a large repertoire of biochemicals, so we can make good use of this toxin to treat various complex diseases. So that is the reason why species going extinct is such a tragedy. You see, opportunity cost in economics. It's a lost opportunity for us to make good use of these species. You see, not only we lose biodiversity, but also medical and technological opportunities. So that is why the biodiversity matters, friends. Utility companies are worried that solar panels drive up the electric cost for the neighbors, the people who don't have the panels. But the research shows the opposite is actually true. Grid tied solar photovoltaic owners, PV means photovoltaic, the solar panel owners, are actually subsidizing the non-photovoltaic neighbors. So the neighbors who don't have the solar panels, they pay less money, for the electricity cost. So that is what this new model says. So that is very interesting. What we know and what is real, there is actually the difference between these two. Scientists found that heavy transport alone, that is trucks and other heavy duty vehicles on the road, use of biofuels produced by forest residue in combination with sawdust from sawmills could reduce the greenhouse gas emission by 88 to 94 percentage compared to the fossil fuel usage. While the study is about the biofuel, but it could be very well be true that what we have to concentrate on the road transportation is not really cars or the public transportation, but heavy duty trucks. If we can change this heavy duty truck from fossil fuel to electricity, or other renewable energy sources, then we can, it could be a significant contribution on controlling the climate change, and global warming, the greenhouse effect. So we have to target the trucks. Last year, California suffered its worst series of wildfires, also in Australia, including 5 of the most destructive 6 fires on record till date, all driven by unseasonal winds. And the new study research says the driving winds originated from an unexpected source. What is this unexpected source? Typhoons in Korea. Korean typhoons are causing these kind of forest fires in California. That's very, very exciting. See, the world's meteorology and weather systems are really complicated. For example, monsoons here in India can be related to El Nino and La Nina, the Southern Pacific oscillations. So that is what the new study says. So scientists have found that permafrost buried beneath the Arctic Ocean holds 60 billion tons of methane and 560 billion tons of organic carbon, previously unknown, making it a major source of greenhouse gases not currently included in the climate projections that could have significant impact on the climate change. So the current models of the climate change did not include these these carbon sources stored deep inside the permafrost in the Arctic Ocean. So if you accommodate this in the climate models, then the climate change becomes a lot more serious, friends. Paris Agreement aims to keep global warming by 2100, that is 2100, to below 2 degrees Celsius. But the probability of this is only 5%. That is what the new studies say. Only 5% probability that we can achieve this, target based on the current trends. So to have even a chance of staying below 2%, country-based rate of emissions reduction, so reductions in the emission rate should increase by 80% beyond what nationally determined contributions. So we really have to struggle too hard to achieve what is envisioned in the Paris summit. That is what the new study says. Next is medicine and diagnostic related stories. Tricking the novel coronavirus with a fake handshake. That is, I love this metaphor, a fake handshake. Scientists have found that a way to trick the novel coronavirus into binding with a protein fragment that resembles a friendly receptor, the ACE2 receptor, effectively inactivating SARS-CoV-2 before it can infect a cell. There is a new therapeutic advancement in the COVID-19 treatment scenario. Fecal transplant turns a cancer immunotherapy non-responders into the responders. So those people who are not responding to cancer immunotherapy, after the fecal transplant, they become responder. By the way, fecal transplantation is transplanting the feces, the excrement from a healthy person into the patient, by pill. Of course, you have to ask the people to ingest the fecal matter. So it's kind of yucky. So it's basically inside a pill. So ask someone to ingest that pill. So that is how the fecal transplantation works. By the way, if you ingest it, what is happening is that the feces contains a large repertoire of our microbiome, the bacteria in our gut. So that gets introduced into the patients. You see, so scientists transplanted fecal sample from patients who responded well to the chemotherapy to advanced melanoma patients who did not respond, to turn them into the responders, raising hope for the microbiome based therapies for the cancers. You see, that is very exciting piece of information. Yes. So that is what yes, microbiome is pretty exciting, isn't it? So eating too much fat and sugar as a child may alter your microbiome for the life. You see, if you eat a lot of sugar as a child, your microbiome might be completely altered when you become adult. So even if you are practicing the healthy eating when you become adult, so that is what so the eating habit of the children matters a lot in the adulthood. So the new study is one of the first to show a significant decrease in the total number and diversity of gut bacteria in mature mice fed an unhealthy diet as juvenile. So healthy eating habit as juvenile matters a lot. So now the million-dollar question is that could this be solved with a fecal microbiota transplantation, just like the earlier study, the fecal transplantation? We don't know. Maybe it can be a solace. Yale scientists repair injured spinal cord using the patient's own stem cells. So this is a very good advancement in the stem cell therapy. Yeah. So more than half of the patients, substantial improvements such as ability to walk or use their hands were observed within weeks of stem cell injection. No substantial side effects were reported. By the way, this stem cell therapy is quite expensive. In the US, it is approximately $10,000 for one treatment, one appointment. And then you need minimum 4 times the treatment. So you need $40,000. So still 40,000 is a great achievement, investment if this enable a person to walk. The spinal cord injuries are completely devastating. You cannot even walk at all. So this is a very exciting piece of the story published last month. Just add mushrooms to make meals more nutritious. So mushrooms are really powerful, friends. So it is highly nutritious. So if you add mushrooms alone, can significantly improve your diet. So new research found that adding a mushroom serving to the diet increased the intake of several micronutrients, including shortfall nutrients like vitamin D, without any increase in calories, sodium, or fat. Usually, if you eat a lot of food, then all these things are also increasing fat and sodium or calories. But in this case, mushroom doesn't actually increase it. I read this paper. Usually, I have a habit of looking carefully the acknowledgement section of the paper. So who funded it? There might be some cognitive biases. In this one. So here I read it. It's funded by Mushroom Council. So take it with a bit of salt and pepper. You see, it's the study was funded by Mushroom Council. So that is why that might have influenced the study to say that mushrooms are powerful. So yeah, take it with a little bit of salt and pepper. That is my advice to you. Vitamin D supplementation to the older adult population in Germany has cost saving potential for preventing almost 30,000 cancer deaths per year. So vitamin D supplementation and also exposing your bare skin to the sun, the midday sun, the UVB, of course, on a limited quantity, can have substantial effect on preventing cancer too. And we have covered in one of the earlier episodes of Curiosity, the vitamin D supplementation actually help to prevent the development of the COVID-19. And also prevent the development of especially, the hospitalization, cases of the COVID-19, the severe cases. So vitamin D is a crucial factor that can prevent a large number of diseases. People who have night or chronotype don't fall asleep early enough to get recommended 7+ hours of sleep. So if you're a night or beware of your sleep. You might not be getting enough sleep. That is what the new study say. Long-term sleep deprivation is linked to the poor overall health and cognitive performance. Night owls may be twice as likely as morning larks to underperform at work. So night owls are have to be really cautious about your sleeping routines. It's better to track your sleep routines, by the sleep trackers. So you might not be getting enough sleep. World's largest study of the genetic factors in peptic ulcer disease has found that stomach ulcers are linked to depression. See, stomach ulcers are linked to depression. Maybe the microbiome might be playing a crucial role in it. So this is a study published last month. A single daily dose of reversible non-hormonal male contraceptive agent has been successfully tested in the mice and non-human primates. That is what we still don't have any such pill, birth control pill for males. We have, of course, all the pills are for the females. So now that we have a pill for males, birth control contraceptive pill, you see, it's a natural compound purified from a Chinese herb. You see that the herbs, friends, these herbs have a lot of interesting compounds that humanity still don't know the nature's repertoire. The nature is the biggest, the drug factory, you can say. So there are no non-hormonal male contraceptive currently available in the market, despite decades of development of male pills. So this is an exciting piece of study. People who eat a Mediterranean style diet, particularly one rich in green leafy vegetables like spinach, and low in the meat, are more likely to stay mentally sharp in later life. Cognitive decline is slowed down if you eat a lot of vegetable, Mediterranean style diet. The findings accounted for the childhood IQ, smoking, physical activity, and health factors. So this is it's a very, very important study. The study also says that the new study says that heavy drinking raises a person's risk for the colon cancer significantly, while a diet high in red meat also raises it to a lesser extent. You see, such drinking increases the colon cancer risk by 60%, and eating lots of red meat boosts it by more than only 10%. You see, the data shows. So the heavy drinking is a significant cause of colon cancer. By the way, colon cancer is not that easy to detect, and after detecting the colon cancer, chance of death the morbidity is extremely high. Because the moment the disease get detected, we are already in the stage 4. You see, the colon cancer is so many very well-known people have fallen prey for the colon cancer. Right. So one approach can prevent you from getting colon cancer, not really getting colon cancer, but diagnosing colon cancer. That is colonoscopy, regular colonoscopy, especially if you are a heavy drinker. Heavy drinking in this paper says two drinks per day. So 2 standard drinks, 2 shots per day constitutes to heavy drinking. So that is what it says. So even if you're a binge drinker, it's always better. If you are post 45 years, add colonoscopy as part of your annual or biannual health check. So colonoscopy is a very cost efficient, it's through the rectum. They actually insert a piece of camera and check your intestine, you see, for the tumor growth. So that is for the colonoscopy. It's very best for the prevention of the colon cancer. So it can be preventable through colonoscopy. Coming to the news, first is COVID-19 treatment and vaccine updates. There is no updates from the last month. We have 4 candidates at phase 3 clinical trial, while 1 approved, that is basically Gilead's remdesivir is a treatment. While for vaccine, we have 5 candidates in the phase 3 clinical trial, including the new entry. It's not a new entry, the Johnson & Johnson's recombinant vector vaccine, 66%. The last month they released the success rate. So it's not that very successful, but still it's good. The biggest advantage with the Johnson & Johnson's vaccine is that it's only 1 shot. You don't need any booster vaccine, you see. And among the vaccines, the best vaccines currently available are Moderna's vaccine and Pfizer vaccine. Both have got approximately 90% success rate. And Oxford vaccine is also not bad, 70%. Here in India, we have this Covishield, that is basically the Oxford vaccine. We also have 4 candidates at phase 2 clinical trial. Pfizer and Moderna vaccine see 47 and 19 cases of anaphylactic shock, that is basically the immune reaction, out of 10 million and 7.5 million cases. See, doses. So it is very, very low. So most of these anti-vaxxer campaigns are all fake news, you see. So the majority of reactions occurred within 10 minutes of receiving vaccine. So if you're, if you think that you might get this anaphylaxis, no offense, it's highly unlikely, right? So ISRO successfully places Earth observation 18 other satellite in orbit, aboard PSLV C-51. That's a news few days back. Citizens will be able to register and book an appointment with vaccination anytime and anywhere using COVID 2.0 portal or through the IT applications like Arogya Setu from 1st March. So it has started from yesterday onwards. So if you're 60 plus, you can get the vaccine. Or if you have 45 years plus with some pre-existing condition, you can get the vaccine now. Private hospitals can also give the vaccine. They can charge up to 250 rupees per jab. Prime Minister Modi receives Global Environmental Leadership Award, a very prestigious award the Prime Minister Modi got. So by the way, Prime Minister Modi also got a vaccine yesterday, a very nice picture, and it's a great image and great, great practice, because of getting the Prime Minister vaccinated, that itself can alleviate a lot of this kind of fake news and a lot of anxiety about the getting vaccinated. You see, everybody is worried about getting vaccinated because of preponderance of the pseudoscience and fake news in the social media. So lots of appreciations, Prime Minister, for this great work. Government has withdrawn a controversial order on online international seminar. The Indian Academy of Science, Majumdar, the president has advised the government to withdraw that order, and yes, the government has withdrawn that order. Khana first to receive vaccines from Serum Institute through the COVAX scheme. So our SII, Serum Institute of India in Pune, is exporting the medicines, the vaccines, the Covishield, to many other countries. Ghana is the first country. Later, the South Africa also got this vaccine, you see. N440K is a new mutant that is spreading in most of the southern states now, like in Kerala. That is what the new CCMB study say. By the way, this coronavirus mutates so very fast. 2 mutations occur on average per every single month, and all these are the mutation, the code number, right? In the genome of the COVID-19, where exactly it's mutating. That 440 position, amino acid N has changed to K. That is what N440K means. Studies suggest habitat loss is leading to inbreeding of the Indian tiger. So inbreeding means copulation between the siblings and closely related relatives. So that actually is not a good news. So inbreeding leads to a host of diseases, especially expression of the recessive traits. So that is what happening that's a very alarming study. Mars landing photo shows Perseverance about to touchdown. So Perseverance landed on the moon. You see NASA's Perseverance mission, and it also released a very interesting soundscape. You can search on YouTube to get the sound from the Perseverance, the Martian landscape sound. Very exciting piece of information. By the way, the Mars, the Mars rover, the Perseverance, the key person behind this is an Indian lady, Swati Mohan. Swati is a brilliant Indian born in Bangalore, and she got her BS from Cornell University in Ithaca, Ivy League Institute, and PhD from MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT in Boston, #1, engineering college in the world. So she is the person behind this Perseverance mission. Amazing, Swati. So CDC finds, CDC, that is Center for Disease Control, the study finds that 2 masks are better than 1 for COVID-19, especially if you're in a high risk environment like close proximity, if you're in a supermarket, or if you're traveling in a public transportation, especially in the flight. So it's better to wear 2 masks instead of 1 mask. So this is what I just said, that the habitat loss is leading to inbreeding of Indian tiger. That is really a sad news. Mandarin duck, a very beautiful duck. Mandarin duck is a rare duck. It has spotted in Assam after a century. A very good piece of information. Jellyfish blooms in North Kerala force fisheries to pause the work. It is Kauai Beach and Kauai Island and other places in, Neeleshwaram and Payyanur, my own city. I'm from Payyanur in Kerala, North Kerala, near to Mangalore. So those area recently found, last week found a jellyfish bloom, you see. So that is really an interesting study. Coming to observances in the March, first is that yesterday was the World Zero Discrimination Day, UN observances. Third is World Wildlife Day. Tomorrow is World Wildlife Day. International Women's Day is on March 8th. 20th has got multiple days. International Day of Happiness. 21st has got multiple observations. International Day for Discrimination of Racial Discrimination. World Poetry Day. World Down Syndrome Day. Down syndrome, the trisomy 21. International Day for Forests. All this comes on 21st. So viruses don't discriminate, and neither should we. It's a very powerful poster by World Health Organization. Yesterday was the UN Zero Discrimination Day. And this is also for ending different kinds of inequalities, race-based inequality or gender-based stereotyping. Many of these things we covered: economic disparity or inequality based on your birth and race and creed, nationality. Everything matters, friends. And this is also a very powerful poster for the World Wildlife Day. Forests and livelihoods, sustaining people and planet. That is the motto of 2021 World Wildlife Day, coming tomorrow. Coming to other observances, World Water Day is on 22nd March. Water and climate change had been the theme for the 2020, but 2021 is not yet out. World Meteorological Day, the weather forecast on 23. 24th is World Tuberculosis Day. International Day for Right to the Truth concerning gross human rights violations and for dignity of victims. Very important day, UN Day. 25th is International Day for Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery and Transatlantic Slave Trade. We have to learn from this history, so that is what this powerful advocacy UN international days are all powerful advocacy tools to change the policymakers all around the world, friends. International Day of Solidarity with Detained and Missing Staff Members is also observed on 25th. And also the March. So this is basically my own bullet journal, a picture. I love doodling, and every month I start with a kind of a doodle. So this for the March, it is basically the month of spring equinox. So I'm looking forward to the spring equinox on March 21. There are so many astronomy related events. 5th is conjunction of Jupiter and Mercury. 6th is Mercury at the greatest western elongation. 20th is the spring equinox. Also vernal equinox. So of course, spring equinox is for the people living in the northern hemisphere, but those from the southern hemisphere, like if you are from South Africa or South America or Australia or New Zealand, for you it is autumnal equinox. First and only sunrise at the North Pole, while first and only sunset at the South Pole. By the way, vernal and autumnal equinoxes are national holidays in Japan. By the way, Japanese holidays are all to do with the nature, nothing to do with the religion. Very interesting. 20th is Venus at greatest eastern elongation. So that is what the autumnal and spring equinox, right? Coming to opportunities, we have several opportunities. Global Korea Scholarship offered by National Institute of International Education, that is NIIED, Government of Republic of Korea for Masters and Doctoral Research Program, 19th March 2021. By the way, all these links are there in the show notes. Please check it out. Arturo Fallaci PhD Fellowship, 31st March. Startup Research Grant, that is SRG, 1st March is the deadline. Core Research Grant, CRG, I'm a recipient of Core Research Grant, CERB. Very prestigious Core Research Grant if you're a faculty. 8th March is deadline. India, South Africa joint call for research proposals 2021, 10th March. Swarna Jayanti Fellowship Scheme, very prestigious by the DST. 31st March is the deadline. Call for proposals for development of neuro tools, techniques, protocols. 31st March is the deadline. Grand challenge for BDTD program. 31st March. Asia Pacific Network for Global Change Research. 1st March. India's Alliance Senior and Intermediate Fellowships in Basic Biomedical Research. India Alliance is a very prestigious medical fellowship. 1st March is the deadline. NIH HEAL Initiative, Healthy Brain and Child Development Study, 1st March. Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights, Labor, US, Department of States, DRL, Internet Freedom Annual Program Statement, 5th March. L'Oreal, the same cosmetic industry, the French cosmetic industry. L'Oreal Foundation, L'Oreal UNESCO, Women in Science International Awards, 5th March deadline. EKO Energy, solar and wind energy projects in developing countries, 7th March. DST Nithi Entrepreneur in Residence Program, 8th March. Welcome Trust Open Research Fund, 12th March. X Prize Rainforest Summit, 15th March. NIH Next Generation Sequencing in Postmortem Tissue from Patients with Parkinson's Disease, 15th March. Teachers Associateship for Research Excellence, TAR, very prestigious if you're a teacher, 15th March. King Bodmin Foundation, Ernest Sovalry Funds, 15th March deadline. NIH Pilot Studies of Biological, Behavioral, and Social Mechanisms Contributing to HIV Pathogenesis, 16th March 2021. NIH Research on Biopsychological Factors for Social Connectedness and Isolation on Health, Well-Being, Illness, and Recovery, 17th March. US Food and Drug Administration, that is FDA, a call for deep learning and reinforcement learning, 18th March. And NIH biomarkers for diabetic foot ulcers through Diabetic Food Consortia, 22nd March. Human Frontier Science Program, that is HFSP, very prestigious. 2022 call, 30th March is the deadline. This is for the biomedical research. CSIR Shanti Swaroop Bhatnagar Prize is 31st March is the deadline. 18th call for Biotechnology Ignition Grant, 15th March. CERN Administrative Student Program, 24th March. NABARD Online Student Internship, 5th March. Global Undergraduate Exchange Program, that is UGRAD, 15th March. So we also have a new call for the MENTAX, that is for the Mentor-Mentee Virtual Internship Program, that is Idea Matchmaking Program. Spring 2021 call is out. The website to register yourself is bit.ly/mentxcore. You can search out Mentax. So there is there is our own, it's by the Young Academy of India, virtual internship call. And if you're a mentor, if you're a young scientist, you can register yourself for Mentax mentor program also, if you're willing to take and guide a few students. So that's all for this episode of Curiosity. Thanks for watching. This is a March episode of Curiosity. We also have a few panelists here. So if you have any questions, Ankit, Kumar, Gaurav, and Nitya, if you have any questions, you're welcome. Please unmute and you can speak on.
It was a great session, sir. Thanks for the information. I'm sure after all these data analysis. Thank you for the wonderful session.
Yeah, thank you, Nitya. And if you have any comments or if you have any missing stories, please put that in the show notes, the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for watching and have a great month ahead, a very productive March ahead. And looking forward to see you all in the translation of this episode, as well as in the April month of the Curiosity, right? And till then, goodbye, and please take care of yourself amidst the COVID-19. And if you can, please take care of someone else too. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.